are going to be live in a second. And we are live. Listen, we're live, and I'm glad to be here tonight. I want you to know that all is well here. We're having a good time here at Bravo with Sheila. You are welcome to come in, get a cool beverage, and just chill. I'll be right back. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Bravo with Sheila. I am so glad that you are here. I'm glad that I'm here. I'm hoping that you had a wonderful day. I'm hoping that things are well with you. You're feeling okay. You're all right emotionally. I want you to check yourself and give yourself a bravo. That's right. Give yourself a bravo. You know how we do it here. Those of you, if this is your first time here, welcome, welcome, welcome. Take that right hand, that left hand, put it on your heart, your chest, wherever you need, your mind, your mind, your mind, and give yourself a bravo. It's a great day here. We have a great conversation. Dawn B and we are going to chop it up. We're going to share with you. We're going to help move you from pain to power and from power to victory, because that's how we do what we do here. And so listen, stay right there, because you know what I have to do. You already know. You already know. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to play the smooth intro tonight. That's the smooth intro. I know you was waiting for that. Bravo, bravo, right? No, I gave you the smooth. It's a smooth evening. I'm in a smooth kind of mood tonight, because we're talking about something so important. So important. It's important to me. And I know anybody walking, breathing, talking, running, chatting, whatever, it should be important to you. Because guess what? We embrace so many things, we adopt so many things, we just pull so many different voices within our lives. So many people have spoken into us, but guess what? We ultimately have to know the world that is in us. That's right. Tonight's topic is know the world in yourself. Never, ever look for yourself in the world. Did you hear what I said? People in the back, did you hear that? They heard me, and I hope you heard me. So listen, I'm going to bring my co-hosts up, Dawn B. We flow together. We stir it up, as she say. We stir it up. And so that's what we're going to do tonight. What we're going to do, we're going to
Stir it up.
stir it up.
Stir the pot. Get all the flavors in there.
Oh, yes, yes, yes. How are you doing?
I am great, great, great. Glad to be home. Glad to be here.
I
Always
know.
excited to give Auntie Bravo a Bravo, holding it down in these YouTube streets. Play if you want to. Play if you
I'm
want
holding
to.
holding it down the best way I can, my dear niece. I tell you, it's a every day is different, right? We have Inay the Bravette is in the house, and Jeannie
Hey,
Moore is here.
Renee.
Let's say hello to our Bravettes.
Hey,
Ooh, the
beautiful
Bravettes.
Bravette.
Yes, 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 yes. And we have Jeannie Maureen. We got, yes, salute to you.
Hey,
Salute to
now.
you. Yes, yes. She says hello to you, co-host Dawn B. She says
Hello,
hello.
beautiful ones. Hello, beautiful one.
Yes, yes, yes. And so I'm excited as usual about talking about this, because I'm always excited about talking about things that help move women and people in general from pain to power and from power to victory. The counselor in me just never goes to sleep, right?
No
And
sugar.
it just doesn't go to sleep because I love people and I love sharing. I love sharing my experience. I love sharing how I move from pain to power and from power to victory. But you know what, Dawn B? Life never stops and it's always something popping up. It's always something that's going to challenge us. Hello, my cousin Janice just popped on. Let's put her comment up. She
Hey,
says,
Jen,
hello. That's my cousin. Yeah.
bravo.
And so, bravo to all of you. If you haven't given yourself a bravo today, go ahead and take that right hand, that left hand, take your heart, touch your heart, your chest, your mind, whatever you need
Bring it on.
encouragement, and give yourself a bravo just because. Don't let nobody ask you why did you give yourself, because just because, right? You don't need to tell anybody why you're encouraging yourself. You definitely can't wait for someone to come along and encourage you because they may not show up, right? They may
Listen,
show up, but they may not show up. So we have to learn how to do like David did, right? He
right.
encouraged
Encourage yourself.
himself. And so tonight we're going to share, we're going to talk. I want to talk about this because it's so very, very important. And the word for the day is introspection. Introspection. We have to continuously get that internal valve going or that internal look. So let's chat about it. We're going to talk about it. You have to know the world in you. My God, you got to know the world in yourself and never, ever, ever look for the yourself in the world because what's in us comes out of us. So we already have these great things that's in the world in us if we
Mm-hmm.
would just tap into them, right? And
That's
so the
right.
word today is introspection and really talking about how we get to this place, how we can kind of measure where we are. I was thinking about that and I said, wow, coming from, because I always talk about experience because experience teaches us different things, right? Different
Mm-hmm.
flavors, right?
Mm-hmm.
I can only speak from what I've experienced, right? I always say such as I have. Such
Right.
as I have. You'll never hear me getting in a lane and talking about some things that I haven't experienced or I have not moved in, right? So the word is known introspection, which is defined as the act of looking within. It's reflecting everything. I said everything from thoughts to your actions. Thoughts to your actions. And I always say if we think about something long enough, it internalizes in our what? Emotions. And
Mm-hmm.
then what do? We act out. The
Exactly.
behavior is going to follow once we let something rest in us a long time, whether it's positive or negative. If we don't dispute it, I always say dispute that negative thought
There
with the
you
word
go.
of God. Just dispute it, shut it down. Don't ponder too long on something that's not going to edify you because it will travel and your behavior will follow. So it's reflecting everything from your thoughts to your actions, right? And in this, we talk about so many different things. We're going to chat about, different points. I want to talk about how we can look at ourselves and really measure for our own self. But then I want to talk about too, and this is something, what is affecting us on the outside of us in the world today that we are dabbling in or attached to that we weren't attached to when we were growing up, in my
Mm-hmm.
movement, things that weren't even around when I was growing up, but things that are around now. Things have changed. Things have changed, and we're into so many things. I was looking at how many hours we spend on social media, men
Right.
versus women. How many hours do we spend there? Like, what in the world are we doing? Like, if we spend so much time on social media, how much time are we spending with ourselves,
Mm-hmm.
internalizing certain things and allowing things to invade us inside, right? Things that should not have the privilege to be in us, right? So every time we sweep up and sweep out, we somehow find ourselves back in certain places, and that might prove that we're not spending enough time with ourselves, right? So
Mm-hmm.
let's talk about this world that's in us and the world that's outside of us. What's your thoughts on that, Dawn B?
Well, Auntie, you gave so much good, such a healthy appetizer. Starting off this conversation, I'm sitting here jotting stuff down at the same time. Because I said, "Oh," she said, "Oh," oh," You're always good for the kickstart. But I think it's
Princessa,
really
mwah, mwah, mwah. Thank
oh,
you
all
for
right.
being here. Princess
You know,
K.
hey, hey,
Okay.
the name is beautiful.
Yes.
You said something very important. Well, everything you said was important, but when you're making the point of introspection, and I feel like in these days and times, people is so much else around us that we find, we think we're supposed to be defined by the things around us
Mm,
instead of letting what's in you be what defines the things around you. We start becoming the things that are around us instead of building our surrounding based on what's in us. We start
mm,
taking in, and we don't want to take the time, or maybe sometimes we've lost the ability, or maybe it's not passed down or taught to take the time to be introspective,
mm-hmm.
to take time to learn yourself. And I think in this society, because everything is so judgmental, there is such a spirit of comparison and
Yeah. Oh,
competition,
yes. Yes. That's
that
the
we
words.
that we feel like we're not supposed. It feels almost like being unique is wrong,
Mm,
like being different is wrong. You feel like the odd man out because you're not falling in line with the cookie cutter when God made us peculiar and unusual. I believe they were saying, people like snowflakes, there are no two that are alike.
mm-hmm.
And when we sit down and take the time to be willing to look at us and not compare, not in a comparison, but find your uniqueness, you
That's
know,
good.
um, I think that will make it, gives you the courage then to look further into yourself. I think a lot of people, maybe a lot of us, are afraid to take that one-on-one time because no one wants to look at themselves in the mirror because we become critical.
You know, that is so powerful because I'm thinking about how things have changed in our society. And as you say,
Hmm.
before you could probably try to be your original self, but now there's so much comparison and competition, right? I mean, those words aren't new, but they've been turned up to the 10th power.
Right.
Women, in terms of what they identify to be themselves, also things that we have not been taught, right?
Excuse me.
And things
Hmm.
that we have been taught have been challenged, because insecurity, we all have those little areas, those pockets, even though if we're strong, women of color or women in general, we all have those areas that are weaknesses, right? And
Hmm.
if you have not worked on them, even things that you were taught that don't work for you now. I'm not saying throw away tradition. I'm not saying throw away what your mama taught
Right.
you. But if you're not able to change with how God is moving, how things are changing, how things
Right.
look, because He never changes, but where we are, just like in the Word of God, there's dispensations, right? The dispensations is like, what is a dispensation? Is what was God saying at that time? That's what a dispensation, what was he saying in the Adamic dispensation? What was he saying in the Mosaic? What was he saying in these times? And all those people had to learn how to eventually switch, adopt it, throw away, or buck up against it, right? But
Hmm.
God is
Hmm.
always moving. So you're right, the competition. Let's see what Princess K is saying, something that's really, I didn't see what she said, but let's see what she's saying. There is a concept taught in sociology that says that everyone's decisions are all impacted by society in some way.
Hmm.
Whether it's your own peers, work, school, religious ties, absolutely. And I think she has a continuation that is so true,
Hmm.
Princess K. She says, and then when you are constantly on social media seeing snapshots of people's lives, you're constantly in a state of compare contrast. Yes, if you lack mental stability, it results in anxiety and depression. And that is so correct. That is so correct. And here's Princessa, because I said hello to Princessa, and that was Princess K. So here is Princessa, and we say
Okay.
hello to you, my dear. The
I
Brovettes are in the
beautiful.
house. That is a
Ooh.
powerful, powerful, powerful statement. And that's what we're talking about. The competition, the
Hmm.
things, the concept. Oh my God, I got to put that up again. I got to put it up again because that was well said.
Worthy
Well
of a
said.
repeat. Worthy of a
The-
repeat.
yeah, let's do the repeat. There is a concept taught in sociology that says that everyone's decisions are all impacted, right? By
Hmm.
everyone's decisions and are all impacted by society in some way. whether it's your peers, work, school, religious ties, or media. Absolutely. The continuation says, and then when you are constantly on social media seeing snapshots of people's lives, you're constantly in a state of compare slash contrast. If you lack mental stability, it results in anxiety and depression. And that is so, so, so true. Let's say
Mm-hmm.
hello to another Bravette in the house, Sandra
Hey
Birthright.
now.
She's in my
Hey,
heart.
beautiful.
She's like so close here. Everybody's close, but her and I have been doing something like I can't explain it. God is doing
That's
something.
all
He's
right.
doing something. He is doing something. I love her so much. And so that is so powerful. And it's so in tune with what we're talking about. It's so powerful in the context of what Princess K is saying. And that's the one of the problems that women and men in general, this is a woman's channel, but you know, we have the Brave Brothers that stop by.
Right,
So we
right.
got to shout out to the Brave Brothers. But
Yes,
life
sir.
itself, we have to sit back and we have to continuously circumspect. We have to take a look at ourselves. We have to keep up with what's going on internally, because despite
Mm-hmm.
what we've learned, despite what our parents have shown us and taught us, systems are changing, right? Systems are
Constantly.
shifting, right? So what does
Mm-hmm.
it mean? What does it look like? Let's look at a couple of points and to know your true self. So yeah, you know your true self. Now, who is your true self? Now, we, like I said at the top of the hour, we adapt and we adopt so many different things from the echoes we hear, whether it's our parents or whether it was like what Princess K is talking about. You know, our walk in our lives have shaped us, right? And at a certain point, there has to be a cleaning. And I don't want to say a
Yeah.
cleaning like everything needs to be clean, but you know, in the house, how you shift things around,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because you
Mm-hmm.
know how I always say that we have these apartments inside of us. These compartments are all inside of us: the bathroom, the kitchen, the living room. And sometimes, you know, you sweep stuff away and shut the door and you don't go in that room with the books and the dust,
Right,
right?
right,
But that
right.
exists still inside of you and you're still functioning. Because one thing that women can do, just like you have functioning addicts, right? Addicts that can
Talking
be
right.
high 24/7. They can go to work, they can pay the bills, they can take care of their family, and we call them functioning
Functioning.
addicts,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we have the same type of movement with
That's
women.
right.
We function out of habit because we have to. We wake up the hat for the mother, the worker, the this, the that. And sometimes people get, and women get lost underneath the debris of all those things that we've walked through and the things that so we have to take an inventory. There has to be an inventory. So what to know your true self is exploring the thoughts and your patterns and your behaviors, identifying your true nature. You'll be surprised how many people don't know their true self.
It's true. It's true. You know, its influence makes a world of difference, whether it be good, bad, or even indifferent. But when you're talking about your true self, we have to realize that we decide who we are. We decide, God has the plan for our life, but we decide our destiny. I was saying, and I've been using this phrase a lot this year, is that I am unlearning some
Unlearning.
things so I can learn them the right way.
That's good.
And unlearning some things, even my parents taught me. It doesn't mean that they were wrong, but it just means that it may not be applicable for my life. They're grooming me for who they
Yeah.
want me to be.
Yeah.
And then we feel like our kids, or even us, we are bucking against or disrespecting those, who are our parents, our guardians, or those who cover us, when we're just trying to evolve into who we really are.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I said with my
Absolutely.
son when he was born, I tell him even now, he's 20. I'm like, I don't know you. I only known you 20 years.
Mm.
I'm still getting to know you, you know, because I didn't want to mold him into who I wanted to be. I had to learn who he was,
And
you know,
yes, that's
and
deep.
yeah, and because I said, I don't know what your destiny is. I have to learn and I have to ask God who you are, because
Yeah.
who I may want you to be may not be who you're built to be. So we have to be willing to accept that sometimes we're
True.
going to cut against the brick, of those who have been caring for us,
Yeah. Yeah,
and don't feel
absolutely.
guilty,
Yeah.
because people put that guilt on you because you're trying to be you,
Yeah.
and you
Oh,
gotta find
oh
yourself.
my God. Being different is really a
Hmm.
challenge sometimes. I didn't, I'm different, right? I'm different in a lot of ways. And I didn't know I was different.
You
Like
are unique.
you being yourself, unique and different, right? So you're not in that cookie cutter mold. And I
Right,
learned that early on growing up with my sister and brother, because what seemed to be normal to me and what I
right,
wanted to be and do was going against the grain of,
right,
why do you want to do that, Sheila? Why do you want to be that? Why do and I was like, well, my identity was being challenged,
right. It's like,
not
well,
in a
why wouldn't you want to be it? Right.
not in a bad way, right? Not in a bad. It
Right.
was what my mom knew and what my mom accepted for her life, and she passed it on to us, which you such as I have. I always say
Hmm.
that a person can
Hmm.
only take you where they've been. I can only take you where I've been, right? I can't
Right.
lead you into some forest and say, "Come over here," and you say, "Sheila, what's over there?" I don't know. I haven't been there yet. No, I'm gonna take you the path that I know.
Gotta
And
know.
and
Right.
I know some paths because I've been living this life a minute. Let's look at it. Let's look at a couple of our comments here. Um, Princess Kate says, yes, I had to get off social media. I was getting in a state where I could not appreciate my life.
Hmm.
I took a break, tapped into God, my family, and rejuvenated myself. It was needed. And yes, and you are needed in this chat tonight. Yes, because this
Absolutely.
is right on time, Princess K. This is so on time. We have to stop, pause, and reflect. I always say, hey, hey, stop, pause, and reflect. Right? Okay, let's see. She says, I missed this one. I think this was a yes, some people don't know who they are. Just like when you force the relationships to your peers, you have to force the relationship with drop the
Hmm.
mic right now. Take yourself out on a date. Always do that. Yep, sure
Yeah.
do. Speak love to yourself. Yep, speak that love to yourself. Give yourself a
Every day.
bravo.
Right. The
You
best one
have
you
to,
could.
yes, yes. And single women don't get it. You have to learn how to love you to the point to understand that you don't need someone in your space all the time to validate or anything. So I think
Hmm.
this is so good. I don't see Facebook. I have Facebook somewhere. I'm going to see what my Facebook people are saying in a second. To improve ourselves by looking within. You're capable of improving yourself into the best version of yourself. You can't be on a self development journey without accepting even
Hmm.
the darkest parts of you. Take the
That's right.
strengths and the weakness, live out of your strengths, work on your weakness. But what happens a lot of times, people deny the weaknesses, right? Because we don't like to look in the mirror and see those things. We want to see all the strengths. But until we allow the Holy Spirit, because we're believers, or counseling or therapy or whatever, to turn those weaknesses into strengths, we will continuously be a prisoner in your own body, thinking you're
Hmm.
living.
You're right. You're right. And I like what she said about social media before. You got to remember, on our social media, what do we call it? Social media feed, you know,
Yes,
and
yes,
we're ingesting. But I mean, nothing's wrong with social media. It's not a bad thing. But the thing is what are you feeding yourself? I had to learn how to be very particular about what I allow on my feed. I may be friends with a whole lot of people, but I don't follow everybody
mm,
because when I get up in the morning or whenever, I don't want to see certain things. I don't want to see because I don't want it to get into my mind. I don't want
right,
that thought to remain. I don't want
right.
it to then seed in my spirit because sometimes we'll see something and you brush it off, but it will come back to you. Maybe a day or two, you
Yes,
won't just out of nowhere. So we have to stop it, at the gate
yeah,
and be mindful of what we're feeding ourselves, even spiritually.
that's
I
true. That's
realized I
true.
had a whole lot of different, I was watching a lot of different ministries that are all kind of connected, but I had to even pull
All
away
those
from some.
voices.
Right,
It's
right.
very important not to have a whole lot of voices in your head,
Hmm.
especially also, when you're just turning channels or doing whatever. But like we said at the top of the show, like so many things are pulling on our women and so many things are happening to the point, and social media is one of the main things that robs our time.
Right.
And if you don't
Right.
do like what Princess K said, you'll find yourself, like she said, like drain, like where am I? What am I doing? Like, what
Mm-hmm.
am I doing? So women in general spend an average of 391 minutes per week on
Wow.
social media, which is close to 2 hours more per week than 287 minutes per week spent by men. The chart below, there's a chart here that shows that women of
Mm-hmm.
all ages are spending more time on social media. It doesn't matter how old you are. It's just really, really, really pulling us. Overall, the United States
Yeah.
has the third largest social network audience. The third,
I'm not
followed
surprised.
by Indonesia and then Brazil. And so when we talk about not having social media at a certain point in our lives, right, where our lives were a little bit more organized, there were certain things you used to have to walk into a phone booth to make a phone call or or do certain things. But
Right.
now, so many things have been influenced inside of our children, inside of
Mm-hmm.
us. So women spend a lot of time on social media. Do you realize how many? I had looked at the stats of how many women make TikTok videos and how they do it as a profession. So that means
Really.
they wake up to put the lights on and to put the makeup on. And I'm not judging. I'm just saying you get lost in the
Right.
source. And
Right.
so if you don't know who you are and the world is showing you who you are, then you're in trouble. You're in
Right.
trouble.
Right.
So
Because
in
you're trying to
trouble.
trying to fit into that cup that's not made for you.
Yeah. And it's okay if it's something positive. It's okay if what you're dealing with, you're receiving, but it's withdrawing from you. Let's look at some of these comments that we have. We have a brave brother in the chat. You
Mhm.
know who it is. Bless you. Bless
Oh,
you.
thank you, Auntie.
You want to guess who's in the chat? The brave brother.
I'm gonna say V Sir Hale. That's gonna be my.
V,
It's gonna be my
sir.
V Sir. That's THEE. Sir Hale.
V, the THEE.
Yes, ma'am. In capital letters. Yes, ma'am. Got to
Yes,
put respect on his name.
you put respect on his name. There you go. And he's saying hello to the chat. He's always a perfect gentleman, and he is something, something, something.
Thank
So
you.
we love him here. People love him everywhere. So,
Yes.
yes. So, listen. So, I'm talking about this tonight because know the world in yourself. Never look for yourself in the world, because things in the world we already have in us, and whatever you need is already in you. Whatever we
Mm-hmm.
need to achieve, whatever we need now, even if we have not received it from another person, God has placed certain uniqueness inside of us, and we overlook that sometimes. We overlook it because we think an echo of a voice is supposed to always give us the tools that we need, when we can sit with ourselves and just focus on ourselves and be
Mm-hmm.
quiet with ourselves, right? And listen to that inner voice. It's so many things that we would avoid to improve your mental health. The truth is that as long as we don't face our true nature, we'll always be living with repressed emotions for the rest of our lives. And I specify repressed emotions. Those are those emotions that we grow up with and we
Mm-hmm.
never deal with, and we
Never.
wind up using them for excuses. We wind up using them to get away with certain things. Those repressed moments, you don't want to go. That's that room I told you about inside of us, the one, the dusty room with the books and the
Yeah.
mop and everything. This the door is closed, but it's within us, right? We don't go over there, but yet we're this wonderful woman, and we got all this junk on the side buried because we're functioning like
Mm-hmm.
that functioning addict. Let me tell you, a
Mm-hmm.
functioning addict, you could never know that they're an addict because they got that thing down pat. They
Got it
look the
going.
part. They look the part. They don't have to even show you anything. You see nothing that proves that they're an addict, because why? They're a functioning addict. They got
Right.
it
They're
under
moving right
control.
along.
And so many of us women get so used to that behavior.
And you're right. When you talk about the repressed, emotions, we have to remember, you keep pressing it down and putting stuff on top of it and pressing it down, putting stuff on top of it. It becomes your foundation. And
Yes,
eventually your foundation is going to crack because it's not built to support who you are, where you're going. Eventually your truth comes to the top, you
yes,
know, and we have to
absolutely.
deal. it's easier to deal with it, I feel, in the moment than to
Mm,
push it back. Because when you then push it back and repress it, the digging just to get to it, like you said, in that room, just trying to open the door, excuse me, just trying to get in there is a task in itself. Where if
mm-hmm.
we just deal with it up front, we would be so much better and so much easier,
That's true. Jenny
and don't
Marina,
carry it with us.
yeah, yeah. Jenny Marina says, I have to protect my energy. I agree. If I
Ye-
see myself in a place with toxic energy, the best thing to do is click the X and exit. And I
Yes, ma'am.
agree totally with you. You have to guard your heart, you have to guard who you are, and you have to keep moving. Oh, they're talking to each other in the chat. You got a bunch of friends in the chat. They all know each other. So listen. So listen, women across all groups, all ages. Look at it. Look at this. YouTube. This is women across all age groups. YouTube used by 80% of adult women.
Mm,
Facebook used by 77% of adult women. Pinterest used by 46% of adult women. Snapchat used by 28% of adult women. LinkedIn used by 26% of adult women. And TikTok used by 24% of adult women.
mm,
We're talking about women. Women are
right.
so way above the ratio than men on social media. Their attention, our attention, is so ingrained in this device.
It's
And
true.
that's what's in, and I don't want to say infecting, but affecting how we internally see ourselves and how we're not keeping up with who we
Hmm.
are on the inside. And then so many women that are single are looking for a husband. But how is that going to happen if you don't even know the world inside of you?
Right, because you don't even know what you're looking for. You don't know what you should
No,
be looking
you
for.
think you know what you're looking for,
Right,
right?
right,
But
right.
what's inside of you, they not looking for it if you
Right.
haven't. But because of this, the outer, they
Hmm.
feel that's what they can approach and get a husband or a partner. But on the inside, I don't want to say they're shallow, but they've just left. You know how I always say, apologize to yourself. Self, I'm sorry.
Right, right, right. Because you haven't built yourself up on the
Self, I'm
inside yet.
sorry.
Listen, there's nothing worse than making that decision, that choice, you know, when you don't know who you are, and you're using that, and I've been there, not embracing who you are and using who you think you are or who you want people to see you as,
Oh, yeah,
to be the launching pad for the relationship, whatever you do. And it doesn't just, not just male, but male, female, friends, whatever you do to draw people in your life, is what you have to continue doing. Once you create the lie, you have to live the lie, you know,
yeah,
and
absolutely.
it's much better if you just take the time, like you're saying, to just know that you're enough.
Know that you're
Whatever
enough.
you find in that introspection, know that you're enough. And comparing ourselves to other people. My sister is like, I don't even know what size she is. I'm like a 24 on some other kind of day. I might be a 26. And I'm all right. And I had to learn how to embrace that. My sister
Yeah,
is like a size 10, always has been. If
yeah,
I sat there and continue, and I say that if I sat there and continued to compare myself to her, I would forever be beating myself up and never able to embrace who I am. But
yeah,
even it doesn't make you better because you're not this like the other person. It simply makes you different,
yeah.
you know,
And
and they going through the same struggles that we are.
that's so true. Dawn B, Facebook finally got you. Sharon Britton, thank you for being here. She said,
Hey,
yes, so
Facebook.
true. And we got fam in the house. She said, hey, family, that's Dawn RDP. She's in the house. Hey, daughter,
Hey,
how you
man.
doing? Yes, absolutely. And as you were saying that, I thought about how, as women, we all have something that we wish we had different, right?
Mhm.
I remember when my sister, growing up, she's gone now, but when she was growing up, she had this like, what this figure, Vavoom. I mean, when I say Vavoom, and I'm standing, and I'm like, well, why feeling insecure about
Right.
clothes that I couldn't wear because she could wear a dress that showed, her figure. And I never could buy the same type of clothes. And she
Hmm.
cared nothing about it. And everybody used to always compliment her on, her shape and women, there's always something that we say, well, I wish I was. I even know this a girl who bleached herself
Oh wow.
because she was too dark for herself.
Wow.
And because she was around people who were much lighter than her, and she felt what it was her own internal world
Hmm.
on the inside. I find that even counseling women or whatever, I always can hear them say things about themselves that they wish they had, or they wish they looked a certain way, or they feel overweight, or they feel people really cause you to have these complexes. And that's why you have to sit with yourself
Right.
and love yourself, right? And
Right.
understand that everything in you is worth something. Princess K,
Right.
and I want you to speak to that in a second. Princess K said, the last time God saved me, and I said I'd never go through that mental torment again. It's been 7 years, and I haven't had to take meds, no more depression. Bravo to you.
Amen.
Bravo.
Amen.
Bravo. I was sentenced searching for help, and he was there all along. Bravo, bravo, bravo.
Wonderful.
Yes, yes. Oh, I'm so glad you're sharing. This is helping so many people. I
Hmm.
love being transparent because, when God brings you through, it's really to help someone else. We're here on earth
That's
for
right.
each other, right? And to worship God and everything, but to be able to be healed enough to speak to it. So,
Hmm.
because that's when you healed. You can go through
Right.
something and not talk about it for a minute, depending on
Right.
what you went through, right?
Right.
And especially if you're in church and you want to say it, you're
Listen.
looking at them folks who say they're your sisters and your brothers,
You go,
and they just want to gossip, but you want to share, a lot of you. And I
Right.
learned something about that. But I remember a testimony I never said in the U.S. for years. The Lord would not let me speak it. You know why? Because sometimes when you're in ministry and you're an upfront person and you
Say it.
reveal something you went through as a human being, oh my God, it becomes like
Listen.
it works against you if the
Yes,
people that
ma'am.
you're talking to are not mature enough or don't have the capacity to understand who you are. And so for years, and I wanted to talk about this testimony because it was so powerful. I finally had the opportunity, didn't know I was going to do it. I was in Amsterdam and at this place, this church called the Church of Philadelphia. Big church, love this church. People are wonderful. And I was leading worship. I don't know. I was getting ready to bring a word. I just don't remember exactly what happened. But all of a sudden, the musician played a key and the prophetic fell. And you know me, went right in. And then
Uh-huh.
a prophetic song came out, right? So I started worshiping and worshiping. And then the people were crying out and crying out. And then the Lord said, now, say it now. Brought that right up, that whole testimony. And as the music was going and talking, I shared that testimony, but it blessed the people that I was talking to. They didn't look at me all suspect
Right.
on with the
Right.
side
Right.
eye,
Right.
right?
They were,
So
everybody
yeah,
can't handle your truth. Everybody can't handle it. They were
so
ready.
yeah, you know what I mean? So even in that, you have to understand that we have different worlds within us that have been created by self-doubt, things we
Hmm.
wish, like the girl that I knew, and she really was bleaching and bleaching. And I was trying to tell her, you are beautiful. But she had
Right.
heard so many echoes in her ear of being dark wasn't this, or you were different. And I didn't even know in South Africa there's three different ways. You're the light skin, you the black girl, and you the dark girl. It's three different
Right.
races and they're all black. I'm
Right.
like, wait, and
It's
they're
like, get
against
your
each
back.
other, the women. Oh, it's just so many things that women have to navigate through.
Hmm. Hmm. And we do it to ourselves. We do it to ourselves. It's so important. That's why you have to know your own voice and let nothing else be louder than that voice and shake the residue. I mean, you can't help how you feel when people say things,
True.
but we have to learn how to shake the residue up. Don't just clean up. but make sure you get all the residue of that,
And if you
so
need
that
help, try to get help,
reach
right?
out. Yes, yes, ma'am.
Because none of us ever arrive. The life is always challenging us, but it's very important to not let the world create who we are. And
Right.
that goes back to a lot. Like I have so many women that have mentioned to me how lonely they are, right? And they don't have a boyfriend, and they don't have a husband, and but I'm sitting there listening to them and thinking, not judging them, but you're not ready. So thank God.
Right.
Thank God you're not ready yet. And the only way we as women get ready is to do the work.
You're right. When we become satisfied with ourselves and you become whole in yourself, because you're gonna need this is this so good. Just I feel like I just got an email in my spirit. You're gonna
Well,
need
Dorothy.
I felt like I just felt like we just
Niece. You just got an email in your
in
spirit.
my
Now
spirit. Felt like I
that'll
just
preach right there.
felt like I just had it just came straight in and you got
Right?
mail.
You got mail? Oh, the
Listen, you got
AOL
mail.
one.
Yes,
Oh, you
ma'am.
even got AOL.
Right. That's how far back, that's how deep it went. But the thing is, you're gonna need your whole self to deal with the man in your relationship and to manage your relationship. So when you like, we not ready until you get you together and until you do all the work. That was so. It just hit me so hard. I said, "Oh Jesus, that's okay." I said, "Okay, Lord, I hear you now. You got to be whole. You need all of you to
You need,
deal with the other person."
yeah, you know how people say that's my other half. Uh, well, I understand that, but you don't want to be a half. You want to be as close to whole as possible. I'm not
Listen.
saying no one's 100% like, come on, let's keep it real. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I can't get over the email in your spirit. Wait,
It,
wait, wait. Even in that, she can't even get over it that quick.
I'm sorry, and I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, not sorry. This is what you get when you get me. This is what happens.
Oh God, that's so good right there. No, that's so good. We're not talking about 100%, right? We're talking
Right,
about
right,
because men have issues too. You merge together to help each other get to that next place. I
right.
always think that when you're with a man that he's supposed to make you better, take you higher, like vice
Mhm.
versa, like take you higher, see your worth, and learn from each other. Because when you merge with a different life, you it's so much you can give and offer that someone else might not have been privy to,
That's
right?
right. Mm-hmm.
And when you are able to accept each other's world, right?
Mm.
Because the acceptance have to now, because who somebody think you are once they get with you, and then they be like, oh, you went through that,
A whole
oh,
nother.
oh, you did that, right? So that's when
Right.
that
It's a
the
whole
reality.
nother.
Well, you don't look like that. Well, you can't go by looks.
Sir, no, ma'am. Don't you fool yourself. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Yes, we have to also gain confidence. When you're secure
Yeah.
in who you are as a person, flaws and all is what we're talking about. You gain nothing but confidence and high self esteem. Why? Because of the acceptance, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the moment you truly start to embrace the entire you. Even the aspect you were afraid to, anything you're afraid to face, anything you're afraid to be. When you accept that, that's what I say. Just admit it, accept it, and that's the first step. Because then God has
Right.
the opportunity to step in. But when you're not
Right.
humble and don't submit yourself to the Lord, or submit yourself to a therapist, or submit yourself to that third party that you might need to show you a different perspective, you
Right.
stay stuck.
Right. It's like how you want to keep doing what you've been doing by yourself. It's like, how's that working for you?
How's that working for you?
How's that working out? And like you say, we got to understand that, like, accepting what you said is so important. Acceptance of yourself, and the good and the bad. And you got to remember, it's one day at a time. I think we become so overwhelmed because we think we have to take it all at one time and get it right all at one time. It's layer by layer. Just show up as the best version of yourself today. There was
Yes.
a post, I think, that said that if all you did today was get up, I'm proud of you. You know, because
Mm.
for somebody, just getting up is hard.
That
You know.
depression is no joke.
Mhm.
That those periods in life when you were the go-getter and you were this person, or even if you weren't, but those periods when you can't get up, that's deep. And it's worse when you can't even share with someone you can't get up.
Right. Right. And that goes to the functioning, like you said, and then
Or
it goes
what
back
people
to the
think
room.
about you, or what someone's going to think about you because you're the
Mm,
low point.
that's a whole nother weight. That's a whole nother weight. Because then you not just embrace the lie, you live the lie, and you're making the lie your truth
Ooh,
to cover up for people
ooh,
who you're not even, and you're not being fair to those around you
mm.
because you're not giving them the best of you today.
Got to put this comment back up. Princess K is on the roll. She said, the last time God saved me and said I'd never go through that mental torment again. She said, it's been 7 years and I haven't had to take meds. No more depression. I was searching for help
Amen.
and He was there all along.
Amen.
That's it right there. She done preached this whole thing.
I'm saying, right, that's beautiful. That when you come to the realization that even though you went through it, he was there with you the entire time. Like that is one of the things that keeps standing out to me about what you said. He was there all along. Like even with
Yeah.
what you went through, he took the brunt of the blow for us, and what we're going through is just the balance. But he had you, like, listen, she right. I'm about to send her an offering for that
We're
one
going to
because
say, look,
that's some good stuff, Auntie.
she on point. You hear me? And I just dropped the link in case anybody wants to come up and share. I just dropped the
Yeah.
link because, you know, no one woman, I don't have it all. Dawn B doesn't have it all.
That's right.
Experience is what we share, right? Being honest and authentic is what we share. And, it doesn't matter what your age is, you're still breathing, you're still living, and you have to always, I don't like to use the word have to. They told us in school, don't say have to. It would be nice to if you
Okay.
would if you would sit with yourself and figure out some of the things that you're struggling with, because do you know the world in you? Do you know the world that's in a woman? Ooh, let me tell you. Can you
Yes,
you know
ma'am.
what's this woman here? What's in here? Lord help. The world, no, not the idea, not the idea, not the moment, the world.
Right, the whole thing,
Oh,
the
that's a
globe,
lot.
the
That's the
globe.
globe.
Right.
Just where the globe. See the globe behind me? It's a little globe. Wait, where the globe? You
I'm
see that
seeing it.
globe?
I'm seeing it.
Yeah. That whole
That
thing,
thing,
that
that part, that part.
inside of Sheila. Uh-huh.
And
That's
some
a
parts
lot.
you discover in yourself. Some stuff.
That's a lot. So when you
Thank
say,
you.
do you know the world in you? That's not to be taken lightly.
No, ma'am. No, ma'am. Not at
Do
all.
you
Because
know yourself enough to be able to? That's deep. Because the world in you is the world you've lived.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Yes, we got Princess K.
Oh, hey, Princess K.
My dear sister,
Hello.
I am so glad you came up
Welcome,
because you
welcome, welcome.
you are dropped like you just dropping the mics, and not just you are giving so much rich information and heartfelt,
Mm-hmm.
authentic. Thank you so much.
Beautiful share.
People on
I'm
Facebook
glad
are
to
saying
have this
thank you.
moment.
Yes, please.
I'm glad to have this moment to share. God has just been working on me for a long time. I mean, I've been going through a lot since I was probably around 6 years old. Like
Mm,
from as a kid, I was suicidal,
mhm,
and I have died 3 times.
mm,
The
mm,
first time didn't turn me back. The second time didn't. The third time I was all right. I'm hearing. You called me. I'm hearing. And it was a lot of talk around me.
mm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm third generation Kojic,
Oh,
and
okay.
they
Well,
weren't. If you know anything about them,
yes,
their
ma'am.
response
Yes,
towards
ma'am.
mental health is more so like, oh, just go read a Bible.
Right. Right.
And not only that, but I was the closest thing to a pastor's daughter.
Mm.
My uncle was the pastor, and he took on like a father role in my life growing up. So not only was my mom working at the church, I was there pretty much every day. And so I grew up in the
Mm.
church, but I was suffering. I remember one time I actually committed suicide right
Wow.
before I had to go to church. I got
Wow.
up, I swallowed a whole bottle of pain meds,
Mm,
and I should have died. I really should have. I was right there.
mm.
Um, and I just heard a voice just break out, because
My
in that
God.
moment, what I say to people is you some people don't understand fully what people who are suicidal are feeling. It's not just depression.
Mm-hmm.
That is a very terrible place to be when you feel like there is no hope, to the point that you don't want to live.
Right.
That even now I get emotional, because God took me from that.
Mm,
3 times I died.
wow.
Every single time he brought me back.
Jesus.
This all started when I was 6 and I was sexually assaulted by a family member. And that lasted until I was 8 years old. And then my dad passed away 2 years after that. I had such a close bond with him.
Wow.
Then it was me and my mom dealing with homelessness. All of that in combination that we were going through, and nobody ever knew. So I didn't know how to speak about it. And then when I tried to say something in the church, it was always,
Mm-hmm.
oh, that's not of God. Just read your Bible. You'll find joy in the Lord, you
Hmm.
know? And I was thinking to myself, like, I should feel better, because they say you go to church to heal. That's what they would always tell me.
Exactly.
But I'm not healing. And so it wasn't until I was 18 and I graduated high school and I left. I was actually just running from home, because I was just like, I'm tired of the church. I put so much into that, teaching Bible study, singing on the praise and worship team, being the youth leader, all of that, constantly having to hold up a sort
People,
of
yeah.
model representation, because everything that I did was watched. Anything that I
Mhm.
did could be spun all through the church, going up to my uncle and then to my mom, and I'd get scolded for it. So I ran, and I ran to this place. I found myself in a place where there was no one around me, no church, nobody connected to me. And I completely had to face everything that I was holding. And it was scary. My mom had to come get me from where I was, because I was on suicide watch. That's how bad it got. Even then, I was still refusing to acknowledge what happened to me, or to speak on it, to say it. 2 years later, when I was 20, it was the moment when I finally had a breakdown at school, of all places.
Mm.
And I remembered, I it was my last day. I had a final exam to present. I went into the bathroom because I just felt the urge to cry. Like, I usually had those urges. I'd cry for hours on end without stopping. And I went into this bathroom. I was like, okay, just calm yourself. You do this all the time. But that time I could not stop. I started crying. I'm trying not to scream. I'm having a panic attack in this bathroom. Next thing you know, I'm in the ambulance. The police have came. They're taking me to a mental hospital on a 72-hour hold. I get in there, and it's like this guard walks up to me and he says, there's something in you that you've just been ignoring. You don't belong here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was everything that God had just been telling me, right? And another thing, the doctors let me out after a couple hours, right? What they commented on was, somehow within the the 6 hours you've been here, you have managed to have all the other patients come flocking around you to speak to you and tell you their story.
Wow. Look at the
Just,
gift.
just, I'm going through and I'm here trying to listen
Yeah.
and help other people. And they were just like, the next time we see you in here, we want you as a doctor.
Oh my.
So I walked out of there, and that was the moment when I made the decision to take control over my life. And
Mhm.
that had to start with me acknowledging what happened to me and speaking to my mother, right?
Mm,
That was my biggest fear. I told her, and I just remember she just cried. She cried. The reasons why I didn't tell her was because I didn't want to face that person. And I also felt, in a way, sorry for her because I didn't want her to feel bad, not
yeah.
even knowing that I'm just making everything worse for myself. You know, from then on, I actually broke away from the church, right? Kojic, I was still going every Sunday. I broke away from the church, not because I was hurt by anybody, but because I said to myself, I need to tap into God. And I'm not
Mm,
doing that here for some reason. And I said, you know what? Something is telling me to just keep focus on him solely. And I had a lot of
Mhm.
people calling me. The bishop was calling me to ask if I was okay. They're all in distress mode because Princess is not at church. She's not involved. She seems like she's gone off her rocker ever since she went to the mental institution. I had people calling me crazy and saying all sorts of things. I said, yeah, God, it's just me and you at this point. I'm really just focused on you. Every day I picked up that Bible and I read chapters.
mm,
It took me a year to get through that whole thing, right? I would write and I would speak to God. And in that moment, out of the many years I'd been in church, that was the first time I
mm.
ever actually felt the difference between God and religion. That was, I've been filled with the Holy Spirit since I was 14. But when I did that, something in my relationship with him completely changed.
Mm.
I found myself feeling life just flow into me. And
Wow.
and the love
Yes.
that just overwhelmed me. To hear him say something like, "You don't love yourself enough, but I love you.
Mm.
You don't think that you're beautiful.
Mhm.
You think that your flaws are terrible, but I love you. I
Wow.
love you because I know what is in store for you. I know where you're going. I love you even with all the dirt you're covered in. Even with your mistakes, I love you.
That's
And I
right.
want you to love yourself too." So it's
Awesome.
it, it's really been a journey. The last time I went to my therapist
Oh.
after that year of spending time with God, my therapist said, "What have you been doing?" She was like, "I know you went off your medication." She
Mm,
was like, "That's your choice." She told me, the doctors told me, first of all, they diagnosed me with sev- with severe depressive disorder, right?
mm,
And post traumatic stress disorder.
mhm.
They told me post traumatic stress disorder is incurable. But I said, "I'll show you.
Mm, mm.
I'll show you." Like in the face of my God, my Father,
Right. That's right.
that's
Yes.
everything that is impossible is completely possible. I just
Yes.
need to show you. And I did. They were completely stunned by the results. I'd been coming to them over the course of a few years. And in that one year, When I came back to them, she said, "I don't really think that you need anything else from us."
Hello.
She said, "I mean, I love talking to you. You can come to talk, but I really don't think you need anything else from us. I really want to know what you did, though,
She
because
was
this
signing your
is
release papers.
right.
Right. God does a whole job. God
This
does a whole
is
job.
this is progress we've only seen in people who've spent over 20 years dealing with PTSD, and you've done that in a span of 1 year." I said it was God. It was
Absolutely.
God.
Princess
So,
K, that is I'm spe- I was almost about to break down and cry. I was like, if she don't stop, I was like, oh Lord, this is gonna take me, because again, you're sharing this from the cup of your life and from the heartbeat of your heart. And I appreciate that so much. That's why I
Mhm.
know that you're healed. I know that you've passed that season. For you to have tried to take your life three times, and still fought through, navigated through
Mhm.
so much stuff. And that's why, I did this, we did this conversation on church hurt, and things that happen to people. And I do know about Kojic, and I do know about the rigidness and stuff. No pun intended, but you know what
Mhm.
I'm saying. And
mhm,
for you to be able to be here today and to share, the people on Facebook is saying
Amen.
thank you. I mean, the comments and how you have this has been a highlight of one of the best. And I've had some good shows or whatever, but this has been a breakthrough for a breakthrough, because people can see this, hear this, and not take those pills. They can see
Right.
this and hear this and know that Princess K did it. God did it, but you surrendered to God. And one important thing that you said, I'm doing it different. I'm not going in the church build like a building. I'm not going, because listen, Jesus never preached in a building anyway. He was always in the street. He always
Okay.
mhm,
found folk. He always
Okay.
found and was drawn to certain people, right? And you created a space, and you finally stopped. You got out of your own head, and you allowed him and his spirit to connect to you. And that is why you felt what you felt after the fact. It was like, okay, this is different. Okay, this is what they was talking about. And I didn't necessarily have to get it in the church, but this is what that feeling was, that lightness. And I just give you a trillion bravos for
Amen.
just,
Amen.
just for being you. I don't know, have you written your book yet?
I'm I've been told to. He's been speaking to me on that to say I need to share my story and
Yeah,
speak out.
because
And
like,
I'm trying to get something started because there's been a lot of people who I've talked to about this. More particularly, I'm 26, so they're just like,
you're a
I
baby.
was about to say, girl,
Oh, she's a baby,
live the
Dorothy.
whole life.
So
Yes.
they're
cute.
just like,
And then we have to adopt you now. We got to adopt her.
they're just like, you have a voice and you could really reach to the younger people. But before I continue on, there's just something that God is placing on my heart to say.
Yes, absolutely.
Um, a lot of my inspiration comes from I study the Bible. I
Mm-hmm.
do a deep study, the Greek, the Latin, the Hebrew customs, all of that, right?
Mm-hmm.
There was one part where I was feeling very discouraged. I was just like, what is all of this for? I've been through so much, God. What what's happening next, right? And I came across Paul. And I've read his story so many times, but I was in Second Corinthians, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm paraphrasing, but his whole verse of these light afflictions are temporary, but the glory we receive as a result is eternal.
Mm-hmm.
There's such a deeper meaning behind that
Mm-hmm.
because Paul was in jail at times. He was beaten, spit on, talked terribly about, tortured, maimed, all of that. And he could still stand there and say, "Oh, this is only light."
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
but the deeper meaning behind him saying that was, I'm doing this for the kingdom.
Yeah.
And when I thought of that, it was like everything just clicked.
Yeah.
Okay, we're doing this for the kingdom. Because I
Yeah.
said, "Hey, God, I'm alive, you know, and you
Hmm.
did that."
Yeah.
So my wish is to glorify you by pouring love out on your children because I love
Yeah.
them too. I don't know who you are. I mean, I cry each time I hear of a suicidal story, someone who committed suicide. It breaks my heart every
Yeah.
single
Mhm.
time. I don't have to know them for that to happen.
Absolutely.
And another thing about that scripture with Paul, right? The one thing that shows out is his posture in the face of bending and breaking that life sometimes brings, because we're not given assurance that our life is just going to completely going to be great all the time. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
we're told the opposite in the word, you
Mm-hmm.
know, and sometimes it's your posture. I
Yes.
had to look around at everything around me that I was unhappy with and get to the point where I said, "Thank you, God.
Mm.
I may not be in the right place. I may
Yeah.
not be fully the best, but
Yes.
thank you, God."
Yes.
Because that's ultimately the first step that is
Yes.
into your next blessing. I don't
Yes.
believe in levels, I believe in dimensions,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
that's what sets the stage, because when you want God to do something in your life, you can't go there with the same mindset that you had before you reached the next dimension.
Absolutely.
God doesn't work in chaos. He's not going to put you into the next place and
Mm-hmm.
allow you to ruin it,
Mm-hmm.
but
Mhm.
it's a tempering. That
Yes.
fire has to come out. That wilderness time, I say, it's like
Yeah.
being in the wilderness. It's like a waiting room to be called to
Definitely.
the next dimension.
Definitely.
And that's
Mhm.
what you have to keep in mind.
That's so
He loves
awesome.
us. He wants the best for us.
Yes. That's
He loves
so
you
awesome.
even when you don't even love yourself.
Yes. This is so
God is
powerful. I'm
great.
done. I'm done with this little 26-year. I'm done.
Right.
I want to hug her. I want to
Right.
see her. I want to touch her. Oh my goodness.
That's what I said. We gotta adopt her now. That's it.
Yeah, we had to have to adopt her, but you know, as she was speaking, and as she was speaking, the Lord was like a book, and then I'm saying, yeah, she's probably already on that, Lord. Yeah, a book. That God is going to begin that process with you soon, because now it has to go to the masses. And as you spoke
Right.
about the kingdom, this is part of your contribution to the kingdom as well. Aside from the other things that God is going to use you, Final Say TV, God bless you. Thank you for being here. Um, and I'm sorry, Princessa, you missed it. You missed it. Oh, she said, I missed it. I had a business call. Who took notes?
That's all right. So
I
just
think
catch the replay. Catch the replay.
well, Princessa, no, she's in the YouTube streets all day. She's gonna catch up on it. Yeah, you got to go back and catch this, Princessa. So, Princess Kay, I mean, you were handpicked for tonight for this topic.
Amen.
You were handpicked tonight for this topic that we are talking about tonight. And I'm
Mhm.
telling you, that's why just being obedient and letting the Lord lead you and lead me in what I'm supposed to say, when I'm supposed to say it, what day it's all
Yes,
about the
ma'am.
timing. It's all about the timing. Who would ever think that he had picked you? Know the world in yourself. Never look for yourself in the world. And
Mhm.
everything that, oh my God, everything that we've been talking about, Princess K, you are an incredible young lady. I got to stay tuned for everything that God's going to do with you. I'm going to be right
Amen.
there rooting you on. Bravo, bravo, bravo. You have to come back and get on some of these the platform again because I'm doing a show, a broadcast on Tuesday with the not the baby boomers, the not
Oh,
the
the
gen,
team. Is it Gen X?
yeah, no,
Why?
no,
Millennials?
millennials.
There you go.
Thank you. And so, yeah, I have, and all of them were on before. And the conversation is what's going on? What's going on in your world? How are you interacting with your people? And some of them are in the entertainment business and, they're rappers, but they're clean rappers, no cursing, no nothing. Their message is strong. They're college graduates. And so on Tuesday, we're going to be talking with them and bringing them back to chat because, trying to be this bridge to bring us closer to people like you, Princess K, trying to bring the bridge so that we can understand more about what's going on in your life, in your world every day, because it's different. And you see, we started talking earlier about the impact of social media, and we told you how many women are on all these platforms opposed to how many men versus how many men. No pun intended, just statistics and talking about what is actually going on. And so knowing our world, you just gave us your world, your old world, your new world. And listen, the world that's to come is going to
Yeah.
be explosive. I just
Yeah.
wish I could hug you. I'm telling you, I was like, if she don't stop, I mean, tears was like right there because my heart is for women,
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
young girls, for just, I mean, I started having flashbacks of things that I had to fight through when I was your age and thought I wasn't going to make it out. I didn't even know the Lord at that time, right? I was a young mom and a teenage mom, and then I got to the church later, and boy oh boy was my church experience. Whoa, we can't go there right now, all right? We can't go there, but
They ain't ready.
the thing that saved me, Princess K, was my personal relationship, not the church
Mm.
building, not the church people. When I tell you the church beat me up, they drag me, right? They
Come on.
drag me. And any moment they try, they just can go ahead. But see, the personal relationship is the key to your sanity with
Yeah.
God. And then not to mention me being a worship leader, and I'm a bona fide worshiper. Anybody will tell you I'll be slain in the corner somewhere, just me and him. That's I mean, you know how
Yeah.
what's the singer she used to say, just leave me there, take me to the king, and just
Mm.
leave me there. So it
Right.
was my personal relationship that why I'm sitting here saying, not because of the people, not because of the four walls. Yes, the teachings. I was grounded. I had a great teacher. So that I have to give kudos and bravos to the teacher that I got introduced to when I first became a believer because my foundation was strong. It wasn't religious, it was strong, but I had to work through so much stuff. And let me tell
Mm.
you, you can actually die on the side of the road thinking somebody will understand what you're going through, like they didn't understand and you couldn't share. You were right there
Mm.
in the church, and you're right. They say, "Oh, pray it away. Just
Yes.
pray it away. She gonna be all right. Just give her the scripture." And you're sitting there like, "What is this church?" Don't be.
And I had to realize that I
Yes,
was
ma'am.
all those times, all those years in church, I had to acknowledge and also ask for forgiveness because I realized when I talked to God, I said, you know what, God, um, I've been looking for people as my savior, but you are.
Yeah,
I got stuff twisted.
Mhm.
I got stuff twisted because it's like when you're raised up in religion
oh
in the church, when
yes,
you're constantly there. I mean, I was there after school every weekday, on weekends and Sundays all day because I also was on the praise and worship team. And that was
yeah,
another problem I had because I was just like, God, I
Excuse
I'm too shy to be up here singing in front of these people. It was
yeah,
it was my uncle. I hadn't sang for about a couple years. He made we were just at home and my cousins were singing, just like playing around. And it was my turn. I opened my mouth and I sang a worship song. Before I could fully get the verse out, not even 5 words in, he said, "Wait, stop." Now, I'm just sitting here like my uncle is a musician, right? A musician, right? Very like perfect pitch and everything. He would throw Bibles to the floor if our notes were wrong. And so he
Mm-hmm.
told me to stop. I was like, oh, oh no, oh no. I must have sounded horrible. My uncle starts to cry, and he's not one to cry, but he starts
Wow.
to cry, and he has to run up the house to his room. And I'm still sitting there like, what did I do? Oh my gosh, I'm never singing again. This was when I was 12.
Wow.
He comes back to me and he says, "You're going to be on the praise and worship team.
Hmm.
God is telling me that she has a voice. She's a worshiper. You are a worshiper. He was speaking to me as soon as you open your voice. You need to be on the praise and worship team because you have a gift." And
Yeah.
I'm sitting there like, I'm 12. All of these singers are 30 and above. What is going on here? And it was so much time because I understand when you said you're a worshiper, that's completely my
Yeah.
stress relief. I get
Mm-hmm.
home
Tell me
and
about
when
it.
I say I will go in, be on the floor,
Tell me about it. Dawn
on
B
I
is a worship
stretch,
leader as well.
Oh,
I'm
yes,
just
ma'am.
singing because I
Ma'am.
totally believe when I open my voice and I sing with intention, my voice is heard and I set my atmosphere.
There
You
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 go.
have to believe that when you're a worshiper. There's
That's the
there's I've prayed myself out of sickness,
hmm
out of the when depression tried to come back.
yeah.
I literally got up and I just started singing.
There you do. So you that's right. Go in.
That's
And
it.
but he takes care of it while you're in that space and that realm. When you go behind that veil and you're in that realm, that surgery is done, and you come out and you be like, okay, let me keep it moving. Let's see what Facebook is saying. Let's see. I see fire, fire, fire. So yeah, yeah. And we got hello, Queen Sugar Chambers. It's so good to see you here tonight. Sharon Britton says people ask me all the time, when am I going to date? I tell them first I've got to find myself again. Once I
Mm,
do, God will send me the man. That is so true. Dawn
Mm-hmm.
says flaws and all, and submission and yes, realization. They're just in the chat. And Sharon Britton says, "Thank you, Princess K, for sharing."
mm,
Handpicked by God. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Uh,
And hi, Lashonda, how you doing? Listen, we're gonna wrap this up. We're gonna do a part two of this. We're gonna chat some more about this. I tell you, if I didn't have a Zoom call, I would not jump off of here. But
right. Right. Good
listen,
stuff.
listen. I want Dawn B. Princess K said a lot. I want you to add something to what we're talking about here. And it's funny, we got three worshipers on here right now. Oh,
There's fire on this
oh,
line. There's fire.
atmosphere is in trouble.
Stir it up. Stir it up. You know. Well, what I do want to add, in wrapping it up is that, Princess K, as you were speaking, um, I wanted to just share with you really quick that what I heard the Lord saying was that you were preserved for
Mm,
such a time as this. The word preserved is
mm,
just what I kept. There's a preservation on your life. And God is keeping you. He's kept you for a reason. No matter what your attempts, your life is greater than your losses.
mm,
And that's why you could not die. You didn't even have the power to take your own life because your life didn't belong to you. But God has preserved you for such a time as this because your voice needs to be heard amongst your generation. And as Auntie Barbara said earlier, it's about the dispensation, and the time that we're in. So, I pray that the knowledge that you have, the study that you have, God continue to flip it into wisdom for you and continue to give, and birth even more holy boldness. If you think you're speaking for God now, wait till He finishes taking you through this journey. When you talk about the wilderness, That is a point of our introspection when we are in our wilderness. And that is where introspection begins. There's nothing there but you and God. And we have to face ourselves and face our God. And, God is going to continue to preserve you through. He's going to continue to preserve
Absolutely.
you through. He is going to continue to preserve you through, no matter what it is. And Auntie Bravo, you already know, and I just heard the Lord say, thank you for your obedience. Continue to do what you're doing because your obedience is causing grounds to break.
Mm.
Just allowing these platforms and these spaces and these real conversations. These are seeds that are being planted into the ground. There is nothing else like it. You have such a unique assignment. And it's such a blessing, and you just continue to. It's like you never disappoint God with the obedience, like never, And the people that being blessed by tapping in, they're just seeds that are going to grow, and I think I said this to you once before, and if I didn't, I'm going to say it now, into blessings that you may never even see, but it is such a honor and a privilege. It just never disappoints to be on this platform, and to everyone else, I would just say, just continue to be your authentic self every day. Every day you wake up, tell yourself you are enough. Learn to look at yourself with no filter. Learn to love and embrace yourself with no filter. Know that you are worthy and deserving. God didn't make
Yes.
any mistakes. He didn't say things wouldn't be flawed, but one thing I've learned is that flaws are actually things that build our characters. So
Amen.
be encouraged, everybody. I love y'all, Bravo. I
Oh
really
my God.
do.
Bravo to everyone
Amen.
tonight. If you guys have not hit that like button, I know I'm supposed to say that all the time, but I forget to say that. I just forget because sometimes my mind is not focused on numbers, but I know it's important with me in the space. But if you haven't hit the like button, if you could hit the like button, if it's your first time here and you have not subscribed, please subscribe. I've been moving up, I'm trucking along because I was trying to get to 300, not trying. I'm going to get to 300.
Nice.
Just last week, I was at 540 or something. I think I'm 560 now. So,
Oh,
it's moving. It's moving. Those of you on Facebook, thank you for the hearts. And so, true education, not getting to the height of our success, but getting to the depth of ourselves. The sad reality is that many of us don't know our true worth. We derive our sense of no worth from our jobs or education or family, right? So I want you to know that social media and people speaking outside of you to share with you who they think you are because they think they know you, you have to learn how to take the jewels and leave the junk. So our look for our lives have nothing to do with it. We have to know what's inside of us, right? Our worth cannot be improved because it has infinite value and nothing is greater than infinity. So I want you guys to understand that God is with you. He's designed you. He's knitted you in your mother's womb, right? Psalm 139, one of my favorite Psalms that when I first became a believer, I said, this is really good, Lord. That you are fearfully and wonderfully made. And he was in the
yeah.
secret place when you were made. And when you study out the fabric and the colors of what's going on in a woman's womb, then you'll understand the deepness of the original intent, why you're here, why we are here. So listen, guys, thank you so much on Facebook. Princess K, stay right there while I close the show. Ine, you know how I feel about you. Grace, simply Grace. Sandra Birthright, my sister, my everything. I can't do the slash on here. You know what you are. And Princessa, she left. She said she had to leave. Jenny Moreno, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate all of you in the chat. Sir Hale Speaks, if you're still here, thank you so much. Who else? If I've missed you, I did just charge it to my head and not my heart. Janice, my cousin Janice, thank you for being here. Those of you, you can go and buy me a coffee. You see the link up there. Buying the coffee
All
will
right.
help me upgrade some of this stuff, these things that I need around me in this studio, right?
All
Buying
right.
me a coffee will send that money straight to helping me build the channel. Those of you on Facebook, Antoinette Stevens, thank you for popping in. I really appreciate you. This show was epic. I'm telling you, this
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
incredible. It was designed for Princess K to come on.
Who knew?
Oh
Only
my
God.
God. Jenny Marie, thank you so much. I love you, sis. I love you guys. Salute. I love you guys so much from my heart. Give yourself a bravo just because you do not need permission. You do not need permission. Okay, let's see what we're going to take it out with my co-host. We'll see you on Tuesday. We're going to have an
Yes.
awesome, incredible, the millennials will be here. Oh
All right,
my
hold
goodness.
it
I'm going to
down.
turn them
Hold it
loose for a
down.
minute. Oh Lord. Some, a couple of them are half saved, some no saved. Listen, don't
That's all
matter.
right.
Whatever's on their heart, I'm going to let them say what they need to say. Remember that when nothing changes, nothing changes. All right. I'll see you soon. All right.
Mhm.
Ciao.